Well, a lot of people would say, or have said this year, oh, he did well because he got his back up against the wall. Do you think that was a thing?
No. I mean, no, I was fine to retire. Like, I was like, oh.
Oh, seriously?
Yeah.
Like, if nothing came along and this wasn't working.
No. After MXGP Jacksonville, I was like, I'm not sure if I'm going to race anymore.
That's Justin Barcia, conversation that I had with him Friday afternoon at Muddy Creek Raceway during press day inside the lounge of the Monster Energy Factory Yamaha Semi. So standard format here, remember, we're recording inside the semi, so you're probably going to hear a little bit of the hum of a generator, but I still feel that that's providing a little bit of that raw feel of what it really be like to hang out inside one of these rigs. And special credit to the rest of the Yamaha team for working in complete silence. Literally, Shane Drew and Jimmy Perry were sitting up to my right, maybe 3 feet away for 20 minutes of this conversation with Barcia, using hand signals and looking through things and typing things, but never actually speaking. And then even late, when Jimmy came back in and I tried to engage him in this conversation, he just pointed to Barcia. It's Barcia's interview. He doesn't need to be part of it. Now, Barcia has a lot to say, but he doesn't really say much usually. Barcia's interviews usually start with, yeah, for sure, and then he says something with sick and awesome, or not sick and not awesome, or maybe definitely not sick and definitely not awesome, or definitely sick and definitely awesome. And that's about the range of the Barcia interview. He's been in the spotlight, kind of at the head of the game for a long, long time. So we feel like we know Justin Barcia really well. At 12 years old, he was already winning races, and everyone knew he would be good. And then as a rookie, he was good. And then he was good in the 250s, and he was good when he first got on the 450s. There shouldn't be much mystery to Justin Barcia. But I started thinking, there really, as far as I remember, hasn't ever been this interview that got beneath the, yeah, for sure, what was sick and what was awesome. And I know that Barcia likes to operate at that wavelength. He's just a pin it, grip it, rip it guy. Even on the track, I don't think he's known as the most analytical racer out there. But I know with all his years of experience that he has more to say than he has probably said before. So my goal at Muddy Creek was to get a little bit more in-depth with Justin Barcia, talking about not just the stuff that's gone on recently. We know how bad it went with JGR. We know how great his renaissance has been this year with Yamaha. But I want to go way back to the stories we had not heard, what it was like in the amateur days, what it was like when he first transitioned to the pros. And by the way, let's not forget that Justin Barcia is really the first model to come out of the training facility type program. I know that, for example, the Millsaps training facility, you would assume, is built around Davey Millsaps. But Davey was actually riding, let's see if I can explain this. Davey was actually riding there just training for himself. Really, before that was a fully functioning business for other riders. And then by the time he turned pro, that's when it really started to get rolling. Barcia is one of the first to have gone down there when that was a functioning business for fast kids to be able to ride all year long and train and learn skills to pop out of that program. Now, there are dozens, probably hundreds of riders who have done it in the years since, but Barcia was one of the first. And I mentioned on the podcast a couple weeks ago with Cole Seeley how we're seeing more opportunities than ever for younger riders, but at the same time, at the very highest levels, we're seeing more virtually unknown riders break through and have success, like Seeley, or Pike, or Justin Brayton. So there's a real conundrum there, because then there are riders that are doing really well that we knew would be good right from the start. Everyone knew Eli Tomac was super talented from day one. Everyone knew Ken Roxon was super talented from day one. Barcia's back to being a podium guy. He was super talented from day one. Jason Anderson has always been good. So we're getting this mishmash at the top. So if I'm going to talk about the riders that kind of came out of the woodwork and peaked at the right time later in their career, it's only fair to talk about one of the riders who was at the head of the game early on and finally get that big in-depth interview. A couple things we want to mention, though, before we get into this. First, of course, the Racer X Exhaust podcast is brought to you by the good folks at Yoshimura. 63 years of research and development. They've got anything you need, whether it's a street bike, an ATV, or a dirt bike. They've got exhaust pipes that work awesome and are sick for you. So check them out at yoshimura-rd.com. Check out Racer X brand. We've got a lot of cool shirts. We just rolled out some sort of Tennessee tough one that I didn't even know about, but we had it. Looks like some Jack Daniels bottle. And I don't understand Jack Daniels, by the way. My theory on Jack Daniels, this is very important to this podcast, so please listen. It has a lot to do with motocross. I cannot imagine that someone I assume that someone is someone named Jack Daniels. Jack Daniels made this thing to drink. How anyone could ever taste that and say, this tastes so good, I guarantee you millions of people will buy it. It tastes horrible. Why anyone would ever have the idea to think that this was actually going to be a product people would pay to drink, I will never understand. But I better stop talking about Jack Daniels because then people would think that new shirt we have was actually ripped off of Jack Daniels. I need to pretend that I've never even heard of this brand. Yes, the Racer X Motocross World's Toughest shirt that you'll see at racerxbrand.com has nothing to do with anything. We had a shirt last year that looked like the Budweiser King of Beers logo, and it said almost legal on it, and I thought that was our old marketing guy, Jordan Roberts, making a joke about it's almost doesn't look like Budweiser, and we're almost not ripping them off. Apparently, it was because it was the 20th anniversary of Racer X, meaning it was nearly 21, and that's what he meant by almost legal. So we're skirting up against this stuff all the time. I've got many other ideas that they've had to shut down. So check out our t-shirt line at racerxbrand.com. Check out Yoshimura Exhaust. When you think about exhaust, I know, and you think about Justin Barcia, you start thinking about high revs, you start thinking about panic revs, you start thinking about first gear bandit. Barcia has a very distinct sounding riding style. And yes, this was just a big, long transition to set up for this. A very distinct sound of its own. Podcast. Yeah, sounds better every week. So let's get right into it. 40 minutes of in-depth conversation with Justin Barcia.
Okay, we're in the Yamaha truck. Shane Drew is here being dead silent because he's afraid that all his secrets are going to get out. He cannot talk. He's looking at a Mac laptop. Lips are sealed. Barcia's the only one that can talk. Don't tell any secrets because they're listening.
HP, I don't know how to use it, man.
I'm going to start with this. At Hangtown, I talked to you after the race, and I don't know if you understood what I meant by this, but I said, dude, how does it feel to just be good again? And what I mean is, any random weekend, you're just getting podiums, even if it's not the greatest weekend for you. But there was a time where even podiums, I'm sure you were like, dude, I'll just get me one podium.
Yeah, I was lost for a few years, for sure. Yeah, it feels good to be, be at home during the week and go, yeah, I'm going to get a podium this weekend. Like,
yeah.
It's been a while, since I was able to do that. So, yeah, it feels good.
But are you already there? Like, or are you past that? Or you're like, nah, I just want to be winning now? Or
definitely taking steps to accomplish my goals. Podium is great, but, we want to win. That's the goal. We've been, getting the bike more comfortable, and I've been working on little things. And, last weekend, I set a goal to be back on the podium, and this weekend I set a goal to win a moto, and whatever comes from there would be, whatever it is. But
but if you go like 2-3, are you going to be now? Is that starting to turn into a bummer? Where last year you've been like, yeah,
not necessarily a bummer. Like, I'm happy with podiums because it's putting me in the right place in the points. But I definitely need to start, doing something to, catch up.
Wow. Yeah. So
that would be, you have to win. Like, that's the next step.
Yeah. Okay. So, when you first, let's say you get podium at Anaheim 1, you lead some laps. At that point, did that feel like a win at that point?
Yeah. Any Supercross podium felt like a win to me. It was like, this is nice. I haven't done this in a while. Like, that was good. I was like, I didn't know if I could ride Supercross anymore. I'm just kidding. But like, feel great at home, but come to the race like back in the day, and I just couldn't get it done. So, it felt sick. It felt so good.
Okay, so you're saying a lot of it was just the mental racing, like you were riding well on Tuesday, Wednesday, whatever, and it was just something on the race day?
Yeah, it was not like I never got comfortable on my motorcycle, and I never got through the injuries that I, accumulated through the couple of years, and just, it just wasn't physically, mentally, like I was, fitness-wise, I was training super hard, probably training way too hard, trying to be better, which, I was like going after things that really weren't the issue. It was like other issues. So that was like, it was gnarly.
It's weird because I would think of you as one of the tougher dudes out there.
Yeah.
Like, you don't seem to lack confidence. You're good.
I know.
So it shows that I can get anybody.
Yeah, 100%. Like, this sport is brutal. Like, it can get you for sure. So yeah, I was in a tough spot. Like, the injuries stacked on top of each other, and then like some concussions, and like it was just never ending. It seemed so.
Yeah.
Like, not re-signing with JGR was this unfortunately the fresh start that I needed.
Well, a lot of people would say, or have said this year, oh, he did well because he got his back up against the wall. Do you think that was a thing?
No. I mean, no, I was fine to retire. Like, I was like, oh.
Oh, seriously?
Yeah.
Like, if nothing came along and this wasn't working.
No.
Yeah.
After MXGP Jacksonville, I was like, I'm not sure if I'm going to race anymore.
Wow.
Yeah, I was over it. Like, I was never in a worse place for sure.
Right, and that was just you weren't enjoying it. Like,
No,
it wasn't
I
even
hated
fun.
it.
Really?
It was the worst thing ever.
Wow.
Like, it was a combination of like me feeling extremely uncomfortable on the bike, and then like MXGP, like, the team really wasn't like there for me. There was like, it was an off race, and like no one really came, so it was just like I just felt so like no one was behind me.
Yeah, because they were there to support the Suzuki Europe team, basically.
Yeah, they were there for Suzuki Europe, and I was contracted by Monster to do the race, so pretty much no one wanted to be there.
Yeah.
So like it was just like, yeah, it was just really weird, and like I was just like super bummed, and like the drive home like a couple hours was like miserable. I was like, oh, this is awful. So yeah, it was tough. It was tough.
Wow.
I didn't know what I wanted to do, and I had no idea what I was going to do because there was no rides because I haven't put in results in a while. So I was just like kind of I don't know what I was going to do, So I took a break, and then put together that privateer effort, and it's like brought back the fun again. And,
Yep.
And here we are now.
But you weren't like crying over what am I going to do? Like, you would have been cool.
Yeah,
you might have just not raced, and you were ready to accept that.
Yeah, I probably would have did some schools at home or something, teach some kids. Like, I mean, I owned my property outright since like 2010, so like I would have just been able to make money that way, or got involved in other things. Like, I have a lot more interests besides motorcycles after I'm done racing. So like I'm like my brain's always I have ADD really bad. So like I always want to be doing something. And,
yeah.
Like no matter what it is. But so like it wasn't like obviously I didn't accomplish the goals. Like if I would have called it quits after that race, my life would have probably been like, I don't know. I would think mentally it would have just been not good because I haven't accomplished the things I wanted to accomplish.
Right.
So,
were you like even burned out at all? I mean, you've been good for a long time, and you've been working at it for a long time. There's some other dudes that are kind of like late bloomers. Was there any part of you that was like, maybe I've burned the candle for so long that I need a break or want a break? Was that helping that decision, or were you never feeling that way?
No.
Nope.
No, I wanted to race. Like,
yeah.
I love racing, so I was like, yeah, it wasn't that. It was just like the mental struggle of trying to get comfortable on a motorcycle for a couple of years and like couldn't nail that, and then like figure something out a little, and then like an injury or something. So it was just like stuff piled on top of each other that really just beat me down. It wasn't like I was burnt out from racing or riding. It was just like the struggle that comes with it.
Yeah, and you weren't desperate for a paycheck. Doesn't sound like.
I mean, I need to make money for sure. Like, I'd like to get a paycheck, but like, like, wasn't like desperate, but I definitely want. I did have contracts still, like Alpine Stars and Scott and Arai, like for this year. So it was like, I still had obligations. Yeah. So it was just like it was a weird like time.
Were you ever like really working on that like privateer racing for the season, like that Monster Cup style thing? Were you ever going down that road?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was trying to figure it out. It was like, I would have had to.
Yeah.
And I talked to a few people like to try to, get some money going to. Yeah. Because it cost me a lot just doing Monster Cup, so I was like, this isn't going to be.
Yeah.
And I've done my own 250 teams for kids, a couple of years, and like it was expensive. So, and to do it really, really right would have been really expensive. I could have did it, but ideally I didn't want to have to spend that much money. But to do it right, you got to spend some cash to compete with the factory teams.
Well, yeah, because you can't come out there and be bad. That's only just going to make your situation worse.
Yeah, exactly. So, when the Yamaha thing, came up, it was like, yeah, this is a good opportunity, and I had to let everyone know, hey, like the sponsors that helped me for months was like, this is what I'm gonna do.
Yeah.
So, and everyone was cool with it. That was always the goal in mind. To anyone that helped me is to get back to where I once was.
When did you know, hey, this kind of feeling is back, this comfort that you were looking for? Did you ever click at a certain time, or did just next thing you know it was there?
Spent a lot of time in California before the Supercross season, and it was like I just started like getting that flow back again, and like ticking off good laps and solid, like getting that good feel on the new bike. It was like, I haven't had that feel on a motorcycle. Even on the privateer setup, I didn't get that feel.
Yeah.
I just didn't have enough time, and the setup wasn't all the way there yet. So we got a really good, comfortable setup in Supercross before the season, and like I got a sick flow going, and I was like, all right, I don't know where I'm going to be at the races, but I know I've never felt this good in a lot of years.
Yeah.
Like since my last year at Honda probably.
So what was that like emotionally for you to be like, hey, wait a minute, that thing I've been searching for?
It was mostly just happiness.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was sick. Because, like, my personal life was good. Like, I was happy in my personal life.
Mm-hmm.
Then, like, the bike came around and, like, just got comfortable with everything. It was like, wow, this is sick.
Were you, like, dying to get to Anaheim? Like, were you excited about it? Like,
yeah.
I want to race this thing.
Yeah, because we put in a lot of work, and, it was exciting. Nerves were very nerve-wracking. Yeah, but I was excited for sure. The whole off-season went really well. It was probably one of the best off-seasons I've ever had. Like, injury-free, comfortable, confident, like, just everything was ticking, Everything was going in the right direction, so it was awesome.
Okay, once you started doing well, were you tempted at all to start talking trash on all the people that had doubted you? You can include me or media people, team people, sponsors,
not really,
whoever. You didn't do it, really.
No, because I didn't, it's just life,
Yeah.
I mean, I would, yeah.
Some guys do that. They're like, oh, for everyone that doubted me, doubters.
I definitely would like to say things about, like, some bosses in charge where, like, that really did me dirty. Mm-hmm. But, like, it's just not worth it. Like, they know what they did.
Okay.
So,
yeah.
It's just, like, not cool the way things happen. But there's, like, just to you take my energy and waste it on talking bad about people is just not worth it.
Right.
And I don't hate anyone. Like, I don't have to be best friends with everyone, but I don't hate anyone. Like, there's no reason to waste your energy on that. Like, I'm cool with everyone. Like, yeah, it's racing, and feelings get hurt sometimes, but most of the time we're just a bunch of, like, little idiots, and we get over it. And, like, next week we're like, hey, Steve, like, how are you, Mathis? Like,
I cannot believe
it's
this.
Like, I just honestly, I was in a bad place, so I was, like, kind of mad at everyone, and I wasted so much energy on stupid things, and then I was like, it's wasting time.
Oh, okay. Was this like a conscious decision?
Oh, for sure, it was a life change.
Really?
100%. Like, my fiance is, like, very smart girl, like, master's in psychology, like.
Good Lord, really?
Yes, very, like.
Should you charge? She should charge you money for.
Me.
Yes.
Yeah, for
sure. I'm sure you're asking her stuff.
Like, honestly, she helped me so much, and had my parents around and everyone. And, like, the circle went from, like, like a whole bunch of people to just the people that actually really cared about me when things went south.
Okay.
So it was just a whole big rebuilding. But Amber was huge for sure, like, getting me, like, she wouldn't have let me quit racing for sure. She would, like, she's not even into racing. Like, she's not even into motorcycles, but she's like knew I like did accomplish the goals I wanted, and knew I had more than what I was given. So
right. So she helped you say, like, don't focus on the energy on that kind of thing.
Like, don't focus on bad things, and, like, it's like you could always go, oh, poor me, but, like, at the end of the day, it's like you make your life decisions. It's like, so all in all, like, yeah, it was tough times, but, like, I just, like, throw it all away, whatever. I'm cool with everyone. Like, it's all good.
Yeah, there were two things that the playbook says that you didn't do. First, you didn't complain about the industry during that month or so you didn't ever ride.
Yeah.
That thing you just mentioned where, like, your circle becomes a lot smaller.
Yeah.
People love to advertise that, like, oh, I just found out who my true friends are. But I didn't hear you publicly go off on that.
Like, I was such good friends with everyone on my old team.
Yeah.
Like, that it wasn't like that. Yeah, like, a few, like, things, business things, like, with a few people didn't, like, wasn't stoked on it, but I never, like, you're a piece of shit or something. Like, I didn't ever do anything like that. So it was like, it was just it's business decisions for everybody, you know? Like, it's just, this is a big business. Like,
Right.
that's all it is for everyone here. Everyone wants to make a living or
Right.
make money. Like,
Yeah.
owning a race team, you want to make money. Like,
Yep.
or you, as well as if you're in this industry, you love it. Like, you love racing.
Sure.
So, you know, that's what, you know, I was cool with everyone, and like I'm still cool with. I mean, yeah, I don't like it. Pisses me off when people say things, but it's just like most of the time, some things are true, and other things that people say aren't true. So,
Well, like, because this is where I'm getting at. So, yeah, at one point you come to Mathis, and I'm like, no, I'm cool now. And then in the press conference, you're like, oh, I probably dirtied Eli at one point, and probably Kenny, probably a lot of guys. It seemed like you were going out of your way to be like, hey, man, I'm changing everyone. I'm trying to be cool.
yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
And I try, and like aggressive riding happens. Like like
Yeah.
I don't know. I got into it with someone in Supercross or something. Like, oh, he's back to his old ways. Like, this is like, you know, we're racing. Like, this happens. Like, but it's like try to be cool with everybody and
Right.
as much as.
But that wasn't an accident. Were you trying to be like, hey, life changes here?
Well, it just kind of it didn't. It's not even like I tried. It just kind of came. It just kind of came that way because that's like how my life was going.
Oh, really?
And it was just like everything kind of. It wasn't like it was weird when you don't try. Things kind of fall into place.
Yeah.
Which is kind of weird because I wasn't like trying to say like, "Hey, sorry, dude, sorry." It was just kind of like, you know, like this is what happened and like, we can move past.
Yeah, you didn't have meetings saying, "Hey, Justin,
No.
you need to apologize to this guy."
It's
Say
not
this
like
to
I
that
had
guy.
like a PR coach saying, "Hey, you need to like
Right.
change your life game."
Yeah.
It wasn't like that at all. It's just kind of like how it fell into place. Like pretty cool.
Well, you got hurt, and then you came back, and you've gotten back to that level already. You're back on the podium.
Yeah, it's great.
Were you worried at all? Like, oh shit, I had it going, and now
yeah, it was. That was tough. That was tough. The injury in Supercross, and I was just really upset because I felt like I could have, you know, still got a lot of podiums, and you know, even got a race win or something. But when I came back, and I was still, I think first race I came back, I was 5th. So it was like that was like, whoa, that was quick.
Yes.
Then I had a few tough races after that, like not like awful, but not good, and it was like, damn it, like that coming right back and getting 5th, and then having a couple tough races. That was more mentally hard than like.
Well, were you worried, like those dumb injuries before the Supercross seasons were derailing you? Were you worried at all, like, oh, is the same thing happening again, or did you know the feeling was still there? And
yeah, like I came right back, and it was like felt like, you know, I didn't really miss a beat too much. You know, it is hard, like, you know, with the top dogs being at like a lot of races, and I missed a lot. It is hard to jump right back into that, but all being said, like I came back pretty good, and I was like, all right, it's all. You know.
It wasn't like the previous years.
No,
injury.
Yeah, because I was like, I'd get an injury, but I still wasn't comfortable on the bike. So that was like two things I was dealing with, and this was like I was just dealing with myself. So I just had to get healthy as quick as I could and come back, and like it was all good.
You told me something when you came back about how you trained way hard back in the day, and you're actually doing less now.
Yeah, it's crazy. Like I used to be. Like, I love bicycles. Like, I love riding bicycles.
Yeah.
Like, me and my old mechanic Ben, like, we just ride a lot of bicycles always and, like, train crazy. And, like, it was so much fun. So now it's not as much fun because I don't get to do that bicycle stuff as much. I still ride my bicycle, but I don't, like, I'm way less of a pro bicyclist than I...
Wait, this is hilarious. You wish you could do more training for the fun part of it.
Yeah,
but that's not part of the schedule. It's kind of like
a sick like thing, because when you hit this fitness level of being like good on a bicycle, and it's not even like a pro level by any means. It's like just like locally, like when I was living in Charlotte, like the local bicycle scene is huge there, and it was just like so much fun. And like I hit this level to where I could just kind of kill anybody. Yeah, and it was like you get that sick feeling. So like I ride bikes back home now, and I'm like damn, I'm not like as good as I once was. You
have numbers or.
Well, I just feel you can feel too. Like I'm not as sick. I'm still good on a bicycle, but I'm not like a sicko like I once was. So that makes me mad. But like I told someone the other day I'm riding. I'm like, all right, whatever, dude. Paycheck like is on the weekend, not today. So that's mentally like that's like something that I had to accept and be like, I'm not gonna be as good on a bicycle, but I can be good on a bicycle like in a couple of years.
Yeah, there you go.
So yeah, definitely training. I was like trained way too much.
Have you done? Are you just doing less overall, or did you replace the bicycle with other things, or are you just literally doing less?
Just like, you know, it's like you do less, but you do more recovery. And recovery mentally for a person who has like ADD is extremely hard to just like, go chill in go swim in the pool or go sit on the couch or like, or just all these recovery things. It's like that is very challenging. So like this year I've really learned to like you and your brain too. Like I've learned like you got to rest your brain, and I was not able to do that in past years. I was just always go.
Okay. Yeah.
So like all that combined, like I'm teaching myself to like you got to just like shut it off, like light switch and like chill.
So this is not you just claiming you have ADD like everybody does. This is like a conscious, like, I have it, I need to treat it this way, I need to...
Oh, everybody for sure. Like, if I went to a doctor, they'd for sure give me, like, medicine. Like,
yeah,
no doubt about it.
When everyone loses their car keys at one point, it's like, well, I got ADD. You're saying you're not just that level, you're not just the average dude. You're, like, extreme.
Yeah, like, I'm always on, like, going. Like, I'm just, like, or it's like I'll be in my garage and I'll like be doing something, I'll be doing something else, like I can't. So probably motorcycles, bicycles, and when I was flying are the three things like I could stay focused on.
Right.
But I cut out flying in my life because I couldn't focus on racing and fly.
Wow. Okay.
So I had to stop doing that.
Yep.
So now I just focus on racing.
And less of the bicycles.
Wow. So, it's a fun balance of everything, but like there's like the three things I could focus on, I had to cut, one of them out and one out a little bit.
Yeah, dude, you're going to be out of this, and you're going to have 50 more years.
Yeah, one day, like, exactly. But like mentally for me, like I couldn't accept that. Like as a younger kid, I just wanted to do everything.
Yeah.
But like when I was 16, 17, 18, 19, like I could do it. But at like those couple of years at JGR, I was like, I tried to do all that, and it was just too much.
Right.
I couldn't.
Right.
So, I've growing up and learning now.
Well, plus, everyone says when you get to the 450s, everything's just harder. So you could probably get away with a little more in 250s and still be successful.
I know, and I just see these kids like they're like, I want to go 450 now, and I'm like, it's sick, but it is hard.
Yeah, and you came in about as good as you could come in.
Yeah, I was the same way. I can't wait to go 450.
And you were killing it right off the rip.
Yeah.
And even still, you're like, oh, man, 250 was nice. Yeah. Those are good days.
Yeah, like when I hear people say, oh, I can't wait to go 450, I'm like, man, I miss my 250. That was fun. Like, those are fun days.
Well, that's the thing. All these teams you rode for before, like, I still see you around there. Geico guys, you're still cool with all those guys.
I'm cool with everybody.
Yep, and JGR guys. Yeah. I was shocked when we first saw you over there. They're like, nah, man, it's all good.
No, it's fine. Like, no reason. Like, I can be mad about things, but, like, I'm not trying to hold grudges or whatever.
All right, I want to talk about your early days. You were, I feel, one of the first, like, full-on MTF grads.
Yeah. I mean...
Is that fair to say?
I mean, yeah, somewhat. Like, there was, like, obviously Davey and Davalos.
Yeah. Okay.
But
even Davey's deal, it seemed weird that it's the Eagle Staff's training facility, but it wasn't... Oh, no, I guess when he turned pro.
Yeah, when he turned pro.
Right. But in his younger days, they didn't even have it.
Not necessarily. It wasn't like what it is what it is today, anyway.
Yeah. And when you first went there, was it the full functioning business?
For the most part, it wasn't as, as many, like, camps and stuff. It was more for pros.
Yeah.
Or, like, young kids that are, like, really fast.
Yeah.
It's a little different now. But, it was, it was some pretty business, yeah.
Okay, so that's a long time, like, you've been going at it. Like, you've been motoing down and training full-time since what age did you go there?
Oh, man. 13, 14
13, 14, yeah.
Yeah, I was just on a Honda 80, so, yeah, pretty young.
And were you, like, full-time, 7 days a week, riding, training, not riding 7 days a week, but were you on the program?
Yeah, we rode almost every day, except, we rode, like, every day. And
really?
Race on the weekends.
Wow.
So, like, took Sunday off, but, like, as a kid, like, some kids can't do that, I guess, I don't know, but for me, I was just, like, they called me Gumby, like, I just, like, sprung back so fast, like, or I'd crash really hard and just Gumby, like, so that was funny, but yeah, it was, like, that was full go.
Well, that's what I'm getting at, because now we have, that path is available if anyone wants to do it. There's training facilities that didn't used to exist.
There's a lot more.
There's tons.
Yeah.
And then there's some guys that do that, and then there's some, like, this Justin Cooper deal, like, out of nowhere is working. So do you feel like, oh, man, going hard at 13 is a big load, or are you happy that you did it that way? Did that work for you?
It worked for me.
Yeah.
I wouldn't change anything, really.
No, okay.
But, like, I mean, I say I wouldn't change anything, but like, yes, I would have trained less going into my first pro motocross season, knowing what I know now.
Yeah, but that's a minor change.
But yeah, like that's just minor things. I would have changed my career path.
You would have gone to MTF. You would have done the training.
Seems
thing.
like that was a great thing for me. You know, I was super lucky to have that opportunity.
Yeah, no, it's good to hear that side because once Cole Seeley does well, or Brayton, or Justin Cooper, people are like, oh, maybe that doesn't work, but it does work.
It works for sure.
Yeah,
there's so many facilities now, and I mean, do you have to go that route? No.
Right.
But it's a good, not a bad route to take.
What led you? I mean, that's a big move. You're not from that area.
Yeah, you know.
How did that all come about? Like, that's massive.
It's Alex. We've seen Alex right here.
Alex Ray, yeah.
His trainer Pablo.
Wait. He's working with Pablo?
Yeah, Pablo helps.
Wow.
Pablo helps Alex.
Okay.
And Davey and stuff.
That's
like that.
true in the Davey program.
Connection there.
Yep.
But so Pablo's like, here's a week camp. Like, bought me a week camp.
That was it.
To MTF.
Because Pablo is from New Jersey, right?
Yeah, New Jersey.
So
New
he was
York,
your local-ish?
connection there. We were always friends. He always helped me out racing.
Yeah.
And so, I go there for a week, and obviously Colleen was like, this kid's got something.
Mm-hmm.
And then all of a sudden, Red Bull pays for me to stay there all the way up until my first pro year when I had to go Geico and I couldn't keep Red Bull anymore. So.
Wow, so it just turned into...
Yeah, it literally went there for a week and just ended up staying there.
No kidding.
Yeah, so me and my dad down there, we were traveling, racing. My mom's still in New York working, and eventually, she got out of there. We bought a house right down the street, lived there for a few years. Like,
whoa.
Yeah, it was crazy. Like, it just, happened so quick.
Yeah. Okay, so your dad had to move.
Well, he was retired already, so it wasn't like...
So he could.
He could do it, so it wasn't like, I see nowadays people leave their kids down there, and I think that's a bad idea. No,
dude.
No parent supervision. Just here's my kid, here's a $400,000 motorhome and a mechanic. Like, that I don't think is the way to do it. But I was super lucky that my dad was able to be there with me,
Yep.
And then eventually my mom was able to come down. So, yeah, it happened quick.
Yeah, we had an interview with Ziggy on the 20 Years of Factory Connection team, and he told me this thing I didn't know. He said your dad hurt his back or something.
Yeah,
and that's why he was trying to help you more.
Yeah, he hurt his back real bad. So
right,
yeah.
Was your family a motocross family? Where did this even come from?
Yeah, my dad just rode for fun locally a little bit.
Yep.
And and then I just started got me a Z50 and started riding and then racing and yeah, it's crazy.
Just that it goes from riding locally, our kid's pretty fast, to all in.
Yeah, it's
so
kind of
quick. It's so weird.
Riding local and stuff,
Yeah.
and then start winning a little bit,
Mm-hmm.
and then a friend hey, we're going to Lake Whitney and Oak Hill. You want to go?
Yeah.
I'm kind of all right, and then you're hitting amateur nationals, and then all of a sudden you're hitting winter ams, and then it's crazy.
Wow.
Really crazy, and the talent pool was crazy then too.
Mm-hmm.
Man, Suzuki was gnarly amateur team back in the day,
oh yeah,
crazy. So it was hard going up against those guys every weekend down there,
Yeah, because you were always on Hondas, but was it always full factory? I mean, at one point it was, but
yeah. Well, at first I was on KTM's.
Your 65
I won
days?
65 and 85. I won the Olympiad at Minneosa. No one even knew who I was, and Ziggy, that's when Ziggy see me. And Ziggy was like, hey, we want to sponsor you. And then KTM ended up going, they were had to pick a rider, and it was between me and Sean Rife, and they chose Rife. So Honda stepped up and was like, all right, here we go.
I see. Yeah.
So, and that's how that kind of got together.
Yeah, but did they have a full-on amateur program at that time?
No, it was just, they gave us the bikes, and we used this guy, James Saylor, JMS, did motors, and Ziggy did suspension. We didn't have nothing fancy back then, so it was difficult going against it was Suzuki PR2, and that was the whole connection there. And they had really good stuff, and KTM was pretty good then too. So it was tough going against those guys.
What's interesting is there are some of the same dudes you're battling. I've seen you race Tomac.
Yeah,
it's crazy.
Yeah. Tomac, Baggett. There's a ton of guys. There were quite a few guys that our era made it.
Yeah, and you're still racing with them. To think that you and Eli Tomac are still battling.
Yeah.
To this day is weird.
Yeah, it's really crazy.
Yeah, because he was on that Suzuki squad.
Yeah, Suzuki program.
Was Anderson or was he younger?
He was younger.
So you never really raced him?
Not too much, I don't think. No.
Right.
But like Wharton
Yep.
was there. Yeah, there's so many guys to name.
Other guys you raced as pros.
Yeah.
You were racing as kids.
Yeah.
But eventually, then that Honda 150 came out, and then it seemed like it was a pretty big deal. You never really got to race it, I think, as much as they.
Yeah, that's kind of when like Factory Connection started getting more involved, like the factory team.
Yes.
And when that started, it was like, we had the 150, and then also the one I was riding a 2-stroke 125 after 80s, and like Baggett was on the whole PC Cowie thing, and we showed up to a few races, and his bike was insane, like and we were getting yanked like crazy on this, decently 125. So I think we went from first Texas race, and we're like, we need to do something. So Geico stepped up and had some old parts from back in the factory day, and the next race I killed it.
No way.
Yeah, just needed a little bit more.
Really?
Back in those days, it was more like we were all really close, so it was a little bit bike more. And nowadays, like all bikes are pretty good, but like it's not power's no issue. Back then, it was like power, trying to get as much power.
It's weird because I think the amateur side, like, look, here every team's trying as hard as they can, and everybody rides full time and trains full time. That's everybody's job. The amateur level, it's all over the map.
Yeah.
Some dude could be not riding for 6 months in the winter.
No.
Some dude could have crap bikes,
it's pretty
stock
crazy.
bikes.
Yeah.
So it's really hard to judge.
Nowadays, it's, I think, changed a little bit more. Like, there's a lot of people that are more like amateurs that are training like pros.
Yes.
So it's changed a bit since then. But yeah, it was crazy.
Yeah. Okay. Your last year, you never raced A? Did you not even race A?
I didn't race A.
Right.
Just straight from B to pro.
When you came into that first race at Glen Helen, there was a lot of buzz, and dude, you lived up to it.
Yeah.
You were leading.
Yeah.
I think you actually passed Davalos.
Yeah, I did. I sure
did you know him? Like, you must have known him super well.
Yeah. I always just wanted to beat him. Like, that was all I cared about. Like,
in
practice,
like during the weekend.
Yeah. So it was quite tension usually.
Yeah.
But Glen Helen was insane. I was like, it was like crazy. I whole shot at the one moto and led like 25 minutes.
Yes.
And then got passed by a few guys, but it was gnarly.
Did you think right there, like, oh, I got this? Like, oh, by next week I'll just start winning all the time? Like, when you start out that well, it almost give you false confidence? Because, I mean, that's a ridiculous...
Well,
you almost won the first race.
What happened was I rode so hard, and, like, I ended up getting a huge hole in my hand. So, like, the next couple weekends, I couldn't really ride during the weekends or anything.
Okay, I see.
So, it was, like, kind of like, oh, this is sick. And then it was like, wow, I have a hole in my hand. I can't pull on my handlebar. So, it took a few weekends. But then, like, I did start, like, come back again. And I was definitely really fast. I just, like, was pretty wild.
Let me guess. So, you probably did tons of 35-minute motos.
Yeah.
And no hole in the hand.
No. Yeah.
And then in the race.
Get to Glen Helen. That was the gnarliest Glen Helen I've ever raced. 2009. The track.
Oh, okay.
So rough.
Yeah.
Like, it was. Yeah, like getting thrown into that was like the craziest thing ever. It was like getting thrown in with the Wolves. I was going against Porcel, Dungy, Searle, Davalos,
Rattray,
was Weimer. I mean, there's at least 3 or 4 or 5 more.
These are
guys.
men.
My mom couldn't believe it. Like, she's like, "Why did we let our son go race against men? I'm 16 years old." Like, it was crazy. Like, it was crazy.
Yeah, but see, this goes back to what I was saying. I feel like you, confidence-wise, you were probably better equipped for that than a lot of guys.
MTF was a good place for me to be because I built so much confidence there.
Yeah.
I was dickhead for sure, like so cocky. It was insane. Like, my last couple years amateur, I just dominated. Like, it was like
you were a dickhead.
Yeah,
100%.
Yeah, like I was lucky I had any friends because I was just like, I wasn't even like a dickhead. I was just so confident.
Yes.
On my motorcycle. When I got on my bike, I was another person. Like,
I see.
Yeah.
You could hang out.
Yeah.
You could hang out and be cool.
Yeah, I had lots of friends.
I see.
Like, we had a lot of fun there. It was a good time, but I was definitely come dirt bike. I don't care who you are. I was like ready to throw it out.
Hey, is that potentially part of the problem there? Like, you won quickly, you won as an amateur, and then you won as soon as you were pro, and then you won as soon as you were on a 450.
100%.
Did that make it harder to deal with? Like, what the hell is this not getting top 5 even thing? Because had you ever in your life?
Oh, it was tough. Yeah, I've never been that person. I was always like tired to win. So yeah, that was it was a rude awakening.
All right, so you would have been cool. You're not saying that it's because, oh, dude, my back was against the wall. I worked 3 times harder this off season,
no
and
chance.
That's why I'm good.
No, I mean, did I sacrifice a few more things? Like, I mean, like A little, like I went to California and stayed out there full time, and I've never
Yeah.
done that in the past. So that was one thing I did different. But besides for that, like I don't think that like it wasn't because my back was against the wall. That wasn't the case.
Yeah.
You know.
Damn it, are these guys going to make you do that in California every year now?
Yeah, which I'm cool with it now because we got.
Oh, you like it?
Yeah.
Jim Perry is pointing and saying
Jim
yes.
Perry is on it.
Is it? You like that, Jimmy?
Yeah, they like having me out there. I'm good, dude.
So you're going to do it?
Yeah, it's much like we got it set up much better. You know, when I was riding with JJR, it was like we're based on the East Coast.
Right.
We never really did that, so I think there's benefits into staying in California, and like the way I do it now, like load up my van with all my stuff, and stay out there and make it a home for a few months. It's fun.
Overall, do you come into the races now pumped that you're, like you said, podium guy every week, or are you getting to the point where you're like, nah, man,
Well,
I'm
like
third in the points, I want to be first in the points?
yeah, of course.
Is it all the way back?
It's more of like taking it step by step and like getting more comfortable and taking the like I come to the races hungry because
Right.
I have these goals I want to accomplish and get to. So it's not getting boring by any means.
No.
It's a lot of hard work, and it's like we want more, and we're happy, but we want to be better.
And because it's a building process, that's how you can't just be totally frustrated because you feel like there's more to grow.
Yeah,
more to give.
100%. Like it's just first year on this team, and get comfortable with everyone, and the comfort is here. Like that's not an issue. Like with the team and stuff, with the staff, it's just getting this bike. It's the first year on this bike and outdoors, and just getting it like to where I need it to be, and then little things on my part, and it's like gonna click.
How similar is this to the one you ride in 15, 16?
Yeah, it's so much different.
Really?
Yeah, it's night and day.
Is that even the stock bike itself, or just the team, the way they
just
run
stock to stock?
For real?
Yeah, they changed
It's
so
that
much.
improved.
Just the chassis.
Yeah.
The engine's not that much different. It's just the chassis. So yeah, night and day. Our factory bike's really nothing crazy. Like if you go around and actually look at it, it's nothing like factory.
Right.
It's not like we don't get really anything from Japan. We just
It's one of the more.
It's one of the more stock factory teams for sure that I've ever been on. 100%.
Really, but that works.
Yeah, it's working. I mean, I don't care what the bike looks like as long as it works.
Last thing is I see you digging into some powder there. Is Ben Bostrom involved with your program?
Yeah, so
that is so this is the road racer.
Yeah, it's crazy.
Is he like a trainer now? Or?
Yeah, somewhat. Like when I was in California and I was at the Yamaha test track a lot, spent a lot of hours there.
Yeah.
And Mark Peters, the guy who builds the tracks and works on them during the week, is like really good friends with Ben.
Yep.
And he's like, Mark's always been really nice to me, and like he's like, hey, I see your potential, and you're not done, and like I think this guy can help you. You should talk to him, and I ended up talking to Ben, and then I went to Vegas for a couple days, and it was like this guy's legit, and like could
this is a Monster Cup.
This is after Monster Cup.
Oh, is that where he lives?
Yeah, he lives in Vegas.
Oh, you went to visit?
Yeah,
okay.
I went to visit there, like right before, like 3 weeks before. 3 weeks before Supercross started, and it was like it was quite a huge thing because I was like had my program going and stuff, and then all of a sudden it was like I'm gonna take this risk and work with this guy.
You weren't doing it October, November, December.
No, it was like the last couple weeks of the series. But it was the same thing. Like when I got on the Yamaha, I seen things click, and it was like when I started working with Ben a little, I was like saw the things click and like start going the right way, and things changing. So yeah, Ben's helped me a lot this year, and he's he's obviously been through some tough times right now with his father-in-law passing away and stuff. So that's
What is it like? You just talk to him all the time? Does he come to some races? Like, how does that?
He did come to some Supercross races and hang out, the close ones, and just a lot of talking, and it's like if I can't like do my own thing now as an adult, like then I probably shouldn't be racing. So it was like I don't need someone to babysit me anymore.
Right.
I just like some guidance is nice to have. Like Ben has been all around the world racing street bikes and like just a super smart person when it comes to being an athlete, and it's great to have some help there.
But it's not just fitness, nutrition stuff.
It's just a
Free
little bit,
seeds.
a little bit of everything. Like, it's mostly a lot of nutrition, definitely, and then like off the bike wise, like, like I talked about that recovery stuff and recovering and just not overdoing it, And he's just a lot of wisdom there.
Yeah.
He's been there, done that, and he's not a pushy person.
Yeah.
Which is nice.
Like he just suggests it.
Yeah.
But you can do what you want.
Yeah.
By the way, any of you guys, when it comes to trainers and all that stuff, so like Tickle gets beat up. How crazy do you have to be about your program of like, how careful, I guess I should say, do you have to be? Because it sure now sounds like the smallest, most minor, tiniest thing can really be a problem.
It's scary.
Yeah, it has to run through your mind.
Gosh, yeah, because we all got tested the same weekend. And like,
oh, you got tested in San Diego?
Yeah.
Yeah,
we all did. And like, I never heard nothing back. I guess if you don't get like caught or anything, you never hear anything back.
Yeah, no
so
news
I was
is
like,
good news.
What's going on? Like,
I
was freaked out. But like, I take a whole bunch of vitamins and like powders and stuff, and like it was it's scary. I mean, I be as careful as I can, but like they tell you not to take anything, but being a professional athlete, you have to refuel your body with supplements.
Yes.
And you just gotta watch where you're getting stuff from and what's going on. But it's still like, it's scary.
Yeah, it's on your mind.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah. Like, I don't think about like every day. I don't take risks really, but I like take powders and things like that. I always like between me, Ben, and Steve Navarro, my chiropractor / doctor, we all go, anything I take, I send it to those guys. I'm like, hey, can you guys double check this as well? Yeah. So we're always definitely checking. And like even last weekend, I got stung by a wasp on Friday, and my leg swelled up insanely huge. Like I could barely fit my foot in my boot on Saturday.
Wow.
And like I couldn't. Most people would just go to the hospital, get a steroid shot, and be fine. But we can't do that.
Right.
So I was just kind of like, all right,
just had to deal with it.
Yeah. So this whole thing is very difficult for people.
Yeah, you guys need the help more than anyone, and you can do less than everyone. Like, I could do whatever the hell I want.
Yeah.
And you need the stuff.
Yeah, it's just like, it's a very, like, you got to be super careful and watch what you take, and, I feel like, the whole Tickle thing's crazy. Like, I don't know if they'll ever figure out what happened or not, but, like, it's just...
it's scary for all you guys.
Yeah, it's insane. It was a real, wake-up call. And then, like, it's crazy. Like, he pays a trainer, like, over $100,000 or whatever, and, like, he doesn't, like, really say anything, his trainer, or, like, do anything. Like that's his trainer. It doesn't make sense, really. Like, if I got caught doing something, I'd be like, I would go to my trainer and say, what's happened?
Right.
I'm taking what you told me. Unless, the guy took something and without his trainer on, but I don't know why you do that.
Yeah, the trainer says, how can the trainer be responsible? Because I'm not, unless I'm your babysitter, like literally, you're on house arrest 24/7.
If I'm paying you $100,000, you better be my babysitter.
Well, I mean, like, unless you're under house arrest 24/7.
Yeah.
Yeah, anyone could go rogue. He's not saying that he did go rogue, but I guess everybody's showing the looseness of the program that would allow you.
Crazy.
Yeah, but you got to trust also what they're giving you.
You got to trust.
Like they got to trust that you're not.
A lot of trust in your trainers and just like your circle. You have to trust everyone around you. Yeah, like I would get freaked out to leave a water bottle. I was like coming inside and doing this interview. If I had a water bottle outside, I probably wouldn't drink it, just because I was afraid someone would put something in there. Yeah, you hear these stories all the time of cyclists and stuff. So yeah, it's no joke.
Damn,
career ending if you get popped.
Yeah, it really is.
For something stupid. Like,
well, whatever. You got hobbies.
Yeah, I got hobbies.
You'd have been good.
Yeah, no worries.
You would have been flying planes.
Jeez Louise. Oh, man. Yeah, it's crazy.
All right, perfect.
Cool.
So there you go. And by the way, when we were done, Barcia actually showed me an email. He had a list that he had put together of all the ingredients and all of the products he uses. So then they could go and then figure out to make sure that each one of these things is legal. And this is like a page and a half worth of stuff. And that's the hoops that these riders have to jump through. As I alluded to here, it's just a strange situation where their bodies need more fuel, more recovery, better nutrition than I do. But I can do whatever I want for nutrition and recovery, and they can't. So it's really a conundrum. It'd be easy to say, just don't use that stuff. But obviously, they're looking for any physical advantage they can get, but they've got to make sure it's within the rules that are extremely restrictive. So it's a scary situation indeed. So thanks to Barcia for the time. Ended up being a pretty crazy weekend at Muddy Creek, as you probably know. The 450s somewhat predictable because Tomac won again. He's won 5 races in 5 rounds, but they've been tough each time. And for a brief moment, Barcia actually was in control of the overall. His 2-2 might have gotten it done until Tomac made a couple passes. Once Tomac got in the third, the 1-3 became the overall win. But Barcia is getting closer, and he did tell me also that his hope is to just re-sign with Yamaha. He obviously only had a deal for this year. Started the year off with a 6-race deal with them. They extended him through the end of the season. He really wants to come back. There are some rumors. Last year, he was trying to get with KTM, and some people at KTM wanted him. So I think people were thinking, well, maybe he would just go to KTM now. But this has just worked out too well, and I don't think he has any desire to go anywhere. They just haven't gotten a deal signed yet, and I think a lot of that might come down to Cooper Webb's deal is also up, and I have heard that Webb has an exclusive negotiation point where he can't talk to any other teams until July 1st. Obviously, if you're a free agent, you're probably going to go out and talk to some people. So until the Webb situation is locked down, I'm sure Yamaha doesn't know exactly how much money they can offer Barcia. I'm sure he wants to get paid more next year than he did on the replacement rider fill-in salary this year. So Yamaha's 450 lineup next year, that's going to be something to watch. I think probably the focal point of the offseason, because a lot of the other teams already have their spots locked in. So depending on where these guys go, that could change the landscape quite a bit. But for right now, it's all good in the hood for Yamaha and Barcia. They've really been each other's savior. That 250 class at Muddy Creek, what the heck, man? What the heck? That was absolutely positively nutty. And everyone, I think, is gutted and bummed out for Jeremy Martin because that is the classic scenario you hope to avoid in this sport. No one wants to see riders get hurt. We definitely don't want to see riders get hurt bad. And that was a scary one. Let me just tell you what it was like from my perspective inside the TV truck. Maybe you don't know, but I am the TV announcer for Motocross. I don't know how you'd stumble upon this podcast and not know that, but I am. We see Martin come out of a corner. We cut to the next camera to get to the leaders, and then we see a shot of him laying on the ground. Now, I believe before they brought that shot to us, where I could see it in the booth, he had been spotted moving his legs, but the shot that I saw on the screen, I didn't see his legs moving, and I was freaked out because I immediately had visions of the clip I had seen of Jesse Nelson going down at Unadilla a few years ago, and that obviously was very scary as well. So I didn't have an update beyond that. You know, once they put the riders on the backboard, it could always be for precautionary measures or because there's a serious problem. Turned out that he did have the burst fracture in his L1 vertebrae, but luckily no paralysis. He was able to move all of his limbs immediately. We just didn't see that in the small clip we had, but that was scary, and I have to admit it kept weighing on my mind the entire show while I was just waiting for the update while trying to call the race. And the reason it's so scary is it's not just that you're thinking, oh man, this could be a catastrophic injury, which is scary enough. But when you start thinking about Jeremy Martin, he's not known as a guy who has these big crashes or has these big injuries. He's become a veteran rider now. He rides smart. He doesn't take unnecessary risks. So when something like that happens to a rider like that, that's that like gut punch and kick in the nuts at the same time. And I know going all the way back to the earliest days, I think David Bailey had the first back injury that completely rocked the sport. And again, that's not Jeremy Martin's situation, but that was the scenario I think that a lot of people were dreading for a few minutes into that second 250 moto. The David Bailey thing, everyone always says it was doubly bad because not only was it catastrophic, but it was also scary for everyone else to say this was the guy that was smooth. This wasn't a risk taker. This was a guy that was technically perfect. And if he can't guarantee his own safety, then no one can. And I think that's what the scary part was, especially for Martin there. But luckily, it sounds like he's going to make a full recovery. We also eventually got the footage from his helmet camera, and then I first saw that, and I saw what looked to be about 45 flips, and I'm thinking, he flipped that many times? No, that was actually the camera came off of his helmet, and it flipped 50 times without its rider. Also, believe it or not, R.J. Hampshire had a very similar situation late in the race with Jordan Smith, and he ended up going down. It was the jump right after where Martin crashed. He's on the search for his Garmin Verb helmet cam footage because he wants to see what happened in his situation with Smith. Luckily, if you saw the Martin clip on the TV show, his Garmin literally rolled right to the feet of a spectator on the fence on the side of the track, so it was easy to locate his helmet cam. I don't know if they've located Hampshire's, and the only way to get the footage off the camera is you have to have the camera and pull the memory card off of it. So hopefully someone found that, because it would certainly be interesting for everyone, but especially RJ himself, to see that footage. Is this like a wanted poster for this? So that's our show this week. I'll put together something next week. I can't even plan it. I actually have to take a vacation this week. This is my 9 9/10 anniversary. 10th anniversary would be in September, but we can't take long extended family vacations now because the kids are in school in September, so we can't really take days off. I have the AMA-sanctioned wedding date, like most people in this sport. I was married on September the 6th. Everyone gets married in September in motocross because you finally have free weekends. Now, this probably means nothing to you, but I will give you my story about my anniversary because it does have a tie-in to dirt bikes. Are you ready? It's one of my favorite stories, actually, so stick with me here. So my wife and I, we went on our honeymoon in Maine. That's where we're going this week. We're going to go to Maine for a few days and then drive down to Southwick. We're kind of crazy. We don't do these like sit on the beach and spend a bunch of money. You know I'm not going to do that. Sit on the beach, spend a bunch of money, and just, I don't know what you're supposed to do. Lay there? What do? You just lay there and drink? Like, I don't even understand what the point of that is. Same reason I don't go to concerts. A, costs money. B, I don't know what you're supposed to do. Do you dance? Do you like just kind of pump your fists? Do you give like the devil horns and like headbang it? Like what do you do at a concert? I don't know what to do with my hands. At a concert, I don't know what to do with my hands at a beach. So my wife and I, we agree on many things. That's why we're married. So we didn't want to do this stupid beach trip thing. So we went to Maine and we hiked and mountain biked and kayaked for like 5 straight days. We just exhausted ourselves. That's what we like to do. We put in the work. We're putting in the work. Anyway, we're hiking this trail and it gets super gnarly. This hiking trail gets so gnarly that they actually have steel like ladder rungs built into some of the rocks to assist you because it almost becomes rock climbing instead of hiking. And my wife eventually starts thinking maybe we've gone too far. This is too aggressive. So I'm telling her to keep going. She's saying I'm crazy. I'm saying she's crazy. Honeymoon period is over, I guess at that point, ironically. So we're trying to figure this out. And as I'm trying to prove to her that we can keep going, suddenly this old guy comes walking down the trail, no problem. And she says, hey, did you just come from where all those ladder rungs are on the rocks? And he's like, yep. So we realized clearly it couldn't have been that bad. And we're about to ask him more about the difficulty of the trail when he says, wait. Are you Jason Wygant? And I say, yeah. And he's like, oh, man, I race GNCC. I love racing off-road. You're the TV announcer for Grand National Cross Country, right? I watch those shows. I could not believe that. That made no sense. And I just want to mention, this is my 10th anniversary. This is 2008. This is the year before I even did TV for the Nationals. So it's even more obscure because he actually saw me only exclusively from GNCC because that was the only TV I was doing at the time. So we are in the middle of nowhere. That was the whole goal of this trip, to go to the middle of nowhere. And I get recognized by the one person that we saw on this trail. It gets better. A few years later, I am moving. I now live in Charlotte, North Carolina. I lived in Morgantown, West Virginia, the Racer X HQ for 11 years. So I'm packing up my office hurriedly, moving houses and offices at the same time. And I remember I'm packing up and I'm stuffing everything in a box, and I see this unopened manila envelope that I apparently had gotten in the mail that I never saw or didn't open. I don't know. So I'm like, what is this? Is this something I need to keep, or is it something I should throw away? Let me open it and see what it is. Apparently, this guy, who I saw on the Appalachian Trail, sent me a letter, and I never saw this letter until this is 3 years later. Sorry. And I'm reading it, and he says, I cannot believe the random circumstances of finding you on that trail in Maine that day. And it led me to think that maybe this was something telling me that I had a different calling, a different purpose in life, that maybe I needed to be involved in motorcycling, my first love, full time. So because of that chance meeting, the Appalachian Trail in Maine, I told my wife we had to move, and I've now made and accepted a position at the American Motorcyclist Association, and I now live in Washington, D.C. And he's now a lobbyist for the AMA. All because he met me randomly on a hiking trail in Maine and saw that as a sign that motorcycling needed to be front and center in his life. And each year, when I go to the Budds Creek National, there he is, because that's the local race for him now that he lives in Washington. And each year I apologize to his wife and his family for dragging them out of their home in Maine and forcing them to live in Washington because he's all into motorcycles. I know the drill well. I have to apologize to my wife constantly, too. This is a weird lifestyle we live. Hope you enjoyed that story. Got us over the 1 hour mark, so you can feel like you're getting your money's worth for this free podcast. So hook us back up. Check out the folks at Yoshimura. They're paying for this. Yoshimura-rd.com. They've got pipes. Who doesn't want pipes? Pipes are good. We want pipes. These pipes are clean. They've got them. Street bikes, dirt bikes, ATVs, anything you'd be riding, even randomly on trails in Maine. I really wish I could bring a dirt bike during this trip this week. A couple of years from now, my son will be riding legitimate full-size mini-cycles. He's only 3 right now, and we'll be able to do it. And I'll get a Yoshimura pipe. Except PWs are 2-strokes. Anyway, also check out RacerXbrand.com for our shirts and the latest issue of Racer X. The reason I asked Barcia some questions about the PED testing is because I have just recently finished a Brock Tickle story on that topic. So now I'm all lawyered up and all knowledged up. So I'm more interested in the other riders' takes than ever. And maybe you will be too if you read the Tickle story in our next issue. So check that out. Or just come to Southwick and just hang, dude. We'll be putting together the best post-show ever. Someone took a 2-stroke pipe, cut it in half, and turned it into a beer bong this weekend at Muddy Creek. It was really enjoyable. Although, as I was doing the beer bong and shooting the show, I realized I had never actually drank beer from a beer bong before, and I couldn't figure out actually how it worked. I was like, I felt like I was underwater, and I had a scuba tank for the first time, but I had not been trained on how to actually breathe through it. So it took me a few moments. I will do better the next time someone brings me a beer bong for the show. I probably shouldn't have said that. Don't do it. Don't do it. Don't do it. All right, we'll see you folks at Southwick. Thanks for listening to the Racer X Exhaust podcast, brought to you by Yoshimura. See you at Southwick. Thanks to Justin Barcia for doing this.